Se o silêncio dissesse tudo, sentimento bom que me leva pro outro mundo. A vontade de te ver já é maior que tudo. Não existem distâncias no meu novo mundo, tipo coisas da sétima.
We're at One World Jiu Jitsu, episode maybe 80. I actually have to count, but it's probably 80. Clint Cronin show. We're here at One World Jiu Jitsu with David Mitchell, the buzzsaw, Kyle Hand, the guy with the really cool hair and jackets. That's the nickname.
Damn you. I'm more than that.
Kyle the hand hair. Yeah, Kyle the hair hand.
The hair. You do have a tremendous haircut. You got a do. Anyway, it's nice and steamy and foggy and warm and hot and sweaty in here, and well, that's just the competitors on the mat, folks. So what are we? I haven't counted. I can't. Once I get past 20, I just get upset.
Yeah, I think it's over 30 right now.
Over 30, that's good. Good turnout. Nice solid turnout. See some larger gentlemen out there. It's a Jameson and Pirate. It's about 11 foot, a million of total rental space between those guys. They're tall folks. Got Christina Barlan. Is that Snake right there?
That's Snake.
Snake, brown belt, One World. Christina, world-class competitor extraordinaire. Anyway, guys, how you doing today?
I'm fantastic.
Did you get a nap in? We had competition training this morning at 9 a.m.
Yeah,
Damn, dude. So did you do two sessions today?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was good training. It was not sure. What we had, like under a dozen or so people out.
Yeah, I think it was about 12 or so.
That's well. It was good. Nice 3-hour and chain session there. It was some drilling, some live stuff. It was fun.
So what's everybody getting ready for? We're going for Worlds, right?
Yeah, so we have quite a few guys competing next weekend at the Jiu Jitsu World League, which is a local tournament, which will be a good turnout. We have 14 people signed up for our team, so we're definitely on the hunt for the team title. And then I think the inspiration for the competition training is a mini Worlds camp. So we have Snake, Gian Lee, and Gary Menezes.
Menezes.
I apologize if I misspelled you. And then I'm going, obviously.
Of course.
So it's a 5-day event in Long Beach next week or the week after, right?
So the weekend after, I think they might open up Wednesday, probably for the blue belts if there's too many competitors. But the schedule right now is Thursday through Saturday, something like that.
Yeah, they have there's a train coming by. That's pretty cool. To everybody who's just joining now, because that is a thing. We're at an open mat at One World Jiu Jitsu, and the train just went by, so you get the real thing here. If you tune in at Clint Cronin on Instagram, we're doing a live stream for a little bit now. Yeah, they have there is Worlds for white belts as well, but it's called World Novice Championship.
I think it's called International Novice Championship.
That's cool. It's I think that's the first day or the day right before Worlds at the same venue, or
I think it's at the same venue. And I believe it's an overlap. So if they do Wednesday, it'll be blue, white, those kind of belts going on earlier on. But I mean, it's at least you can still compete as a white belt if you just don't get the world title.
I got you. I mean, it's still supposed to be the beginner belt. You're not supposed to spend a whole lot of time there, but yeah, it's definitely a great opportunity. I wonder if they still have the points thing for the white belts. I'm pretty sure they don't, right?
There's no points except for adult black.
Okay.
So even for Master Worlds and black belt or anything else like that, there's no point qualifications. Just for, unless that's changed for Master 1, but it's just adult black that I'm aware of.
Yeah, it's just the last couple of years they started doing that and really having to qualify for Pans and Worlds, and I'm guessing it's like 20 for Pans and a bit more for Worlds.
Yeah.
So, Kyle, you said your neck is jacked up.
Oh yeah.
What happened there?
Thursday I was training, and midday, and I've been having a lot of back issues lately. So I finished the San Jose Open, and I injured my back in the last session, the last match. Then I kind of popped it again on Thursday. I just got stacked, and I was doing fine, and then got stacked, and I could feel my L3 just kind of slip out to the left, and then went out to Hank's. He got me all fixed up, but it's sore for a couple days after, and so I woke up this morning, got your text message, and I was like, oh damn, here we go, let's go do this thing.
Oh man, well, I'm glad you made it out. Neck stuff sucks. It's like that's enough jiu-jitsu experience and like grappling experience where like you knew that your L3 was out to the left. It's like very specific. Most
Yeah.
people will be like, my
Yeah,
neck's
yeah.
broke.
Yeah.
The neck bone.
Dude,
the one in the neck.
I've seen him so many times for the the L4 specifically, and he knows that's like an issue with my back. But this time, he's like, oh no, you're one up. Oh, that's crazy. I guess you're all messed up. So, but
I know my C5, C6 is just destroyed. I've had doctors like multiple times like, yeah, so when are we fusing this thing? Or what? No, we're not doing that. We're not doing any of those things. Thank you very much. Stay the fuck away from my neck with a knife.
Yeah.
Mine's my C4 and C5.
Yeah, it's not much fun.
Is there positions you guys know that like you cannot get near, otherwise it's gonna slip?
Mine's not so much slipping because it's a bulge, it's like herniation. So it's gonna hurt really bad. So pretty much don't get stacked on my neck like a inverted Pez dispenser. I stay away from that kind of position, and I'm usually all right. Or like good torquing, especially to my left side.
Definitely getting stacked is not much fun. And then for me, the things I can't do for a long period of time is like the cell phone thing. Sort of looking, like turning my chin down, like looking at a cell phone. That jacks me up. I can't do it for very long, which is a good thing, I think.
Yeah.
Probably way too much cell phone usage in the world now anyway. It's,
Ridiculous.
Yeah, so I have a natural cutoff for my adult pacifier time. I've got to stop doing it. It's like my neck it'll start like yelling at me, and then it's like, okay, we're done. I still do like the yeses and nos and bridges and like part of every workout I'll do is like a warm up. Like if I'm gonna lift anything heavy, I'm like, nah, I'm doing the neck exercise.
You still bridge?
Oh yeah.
Interesting. I'd stay away from it.
I don't go like straight back. That sucks. But I'll cock my head to the side and go to the side.
Yeah.
But like if I bridge at all, I'm trying to like open my chest up, so I'm using my hands instead of my neck.
Fair enough. Yeah.
The straight back, it's like Mike he wanted us to do that earlier and hold the bridge. I'm like, dude, I did it for a while, and I'm like, it ain't feeling right.
Oh, I just bridge onto my shoulders and during that one, and the inverted stretch, I just do kind of like what's it called, like a happy baby stretch from yoga, because I just can't.
Eddie from Iron Maiden. All right.
Tremendous rash guard. Man, all these guys, the licensing fees. We got Jameson over here with the Iron Maiden long sleeve rash guard. It's pretty cool. All right, sir.
I've never been on a podcast before.
Well, now you have.
You just were. You were on
guest appearance.
You were on the video component the entire time there. You never know who's going to drop in on the One World Open Method Pro Show. Neck stuff sucks. Necks are just poor design. bad like shoulders and knees. They're meant to go exactly one way, and anything but that is just an explosion of shit.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we do is force it the other way.
Yeah,
makes perfect sense.
Oh, totally. I feel like the pivoting stuff is what we're not good at, but we go out of our way to do it anyway. Like there's not much give in those. You really got to be dainty. It's like we all should have like ballet as like a prerequisite for any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, learn that weight distribution.
So Dave, hey, dude, break it down. How do you get ready, man, for one of these tournaments? What's your schedule? What's the magic sauce?
So it depends on kind of what the tournament is and where I'm at in my season. So for my year, I break it up into seasons. At least this is what I've done this year.
Yeah.
Last season was to peak for Pans. This I'm starting off with one next weekend, but really is going for Worlds and then fight to win the following weekend. So during a camp, I'll be integrating with my strength and conditioning coach, my buddy Morgan from Mogo Training, and he'll work with me with getting my body and my strength and my conditioning up. And that means putting a lot of time in. My standard is double days with at least some kind of cardio and rolling and or lifting. And a lot of it is how far out do I have to start working on it. So if I have 5-6 weeks to start working on a tournament, I'll be looking at a lot of fine tuning, a lot of building my cardio base, building up my my overall strength, so I can endure and fight off injuries and stuff. And it's really just what am I trying to accomplish, and really game plan that out to start being able to accelerate, get more and more in tune, clean up any mistakes, especially leading a couple weeks before. I'm not in the lab. I'm not working on a new move of the day type stuff. It's just cleaning up what my bread and butter is, what I'm going to be doing when I'm exhausted and tired and I need to score 2 points late in a match. It's my go-to that I don't have to think about and I can just flow with. And so it's a lot of repetition. It's a lot of getting out there and just putting iron to iron a lot. The overall mentality is, I'm going to prep better and more and put in more work than the next guy and it'll show. So I'm confident when I go in. I'm not going to just say, hey, I just registered for this tournament. I registered to win.
So for you, would you say it's like 20% you're figuring out technique or fixing up technique, and then the other 80% is just physical or mental prep time?
The last couple weeks before, I think that's probably a relatively fair assessment. Is it's clean up. It's making sure your game planning is on. I'm not huge on I'm going to do A, then B, then C, then D. I like to keep things fluid. I like to keep optionality going. I trust myself to make decisions in game time situations and in stressful environments because I train all the time. I work on it, and I trust myself to be able to perform when I'm out there. So it's not as much like I'm going to do just this and this and this, but it's, I'm noticing I'm not that sharp with my half guard pass or whatever, so I'll just get in that position a lot and fine tune it. So yeah, I think 20% is a fair assessment, and I think you touch on a lot of it. It's not just physical. It's not just putting in the lifting sessions, putting in the cardio during work hours, or rolling enough. It's also that mental aspect. You're prepping your mind to be able to endure the stress of tournaments, being in the bullpen, you just had a really tough match and you got to turn around in 5 minutes, you got another match, you got to get ready to go, and not letting yourself have any doubt in those situations because you train enough, you got your body prepped up, and you're ready to go.
Gotcha. So how many days per week would you say total right now you're actively training for the competition coming up, for Worlds, for example?
All of them.
All of them, double days, several of them, or?
Yes.
All right. So for recovery, I noticed you've been posting a couple times on social media with the cryo chamber therapy. How's it been working for you? Is that the main component of recovery for you, or do you have other stuff that you kind of work into your repertoire?
Absolutely. So I definitely do the cryo. I also do this laser therapy over at Premier Recovery Lab over in San Jose. It's awesome. It's a subscription based. You get unlimited access to it. Brian over there is fantastic. It's definitely worth it. Check out. It's like $99 and you get unlimited cryo and laser therapy, infrared sauna. They have the Theragun type stuff too. And so I mix in that is definitely a component. I have a sports massage therapist that I work with that does a lot of ART. Ernesto Medina and Hank Hugh also are chiropractors. I help, pop a rib head or this or that. And I mean, it's a never ending cycle. And then I also do a significant amount of stretching. A lot of them are prescribed by my strength and conditioning coach. Active movement, prehab and rehab, after and before lifting, and making sure that I'm doing what is necessary to make sure my body is good. Cause I mean, working out 7 days a week is really tough on the body, especially when you're getting ready for a big tournament. But if you're doing active recovery stuff, I go on the walks with my dog and my wife, and we do a lot of those stuff just to keep moving and foam rolling, all these things that are just as important as putting that extra session in on the mat, because if you run your body into the ground, you're not going to be able to keep rolling. So I say the cryo and the other recovery and the massage and stretching and stretching. People undervalue that for sure. Yeah. And also sleeping. I mean, just getting enough sleep on a regular basis, sleeping, water, staying hydrated is so huge, and eating good food. I mean, you don't have to be a saint when it comes to eating well, but if you're constantly putting crap in your body, like, you're gonna feel like crap eventually down the line. So
for sure, man. With the diet, it's huge. If it's wrong, if you feel bloated or indigestion that next morning when you're going to go train, like if you overeat at night, it affects you. That's why the Gracie diet was the way it was. It's like they cut a lot of stuff out that would kind of just that plug you up. The next, like when you feel like you overate or you drank or something, that slow, sluggish feeling just carrying your body is just like, oh my God, this mat's like quicksand. So the diet's got to be huge, but the sleeps, I think that's the biggest component right there. I don't think enough people sleep enough.
Absolutely.
And you just don't operate right, and not even just competition jiu-jitsu or training or anything. Just life in general. Yeah, your mood goes to shit. Your energy's gone. You're gonna make mistakes. Yeah, get enough sleep for sure.
I mean, your body's telling you something. Listen, that's also a key to training hard is understanding when you're just tired and kind of sore and whatnot, and when you're legitimately injured and you need to take a day off and stuff like that. And so being in tune with your body is huge. And if you're feeling like crap, like, you need to do something about it, period.
Yeah, you'll get guys that they don't sleep enough, or they try to sort of burn the candle at both ends, and then they'll just like pre-workout or caffeine. It's like, man, those stimulants will lie to you. Like you take a thing of pre-workout, you're like, I can do anything. Running your mouth, training all hard, then something snaps. Like you gotta sleep.
Yeah.
Like your body, it doesn't matter how you feel. Like if you're not sleeping, your body, it's like it'll tell you the truth.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of people told me that, but especially my buddy Morgan. He emphasizes you can handle a lot. Your body can handle a lot if you get the proper amount of sleep, if you stay well hydrated, if you feed your body right. You can put in an insane amount of work and get exceedingly fit and ready for tournaments and stuff if you do those three things. Stretching and all the other stuff is almost secondary to the important part of sleeping right, eating right, and staying hydrated.
Dude, what's the guilty pleasure though? I mean, you're like, you can't be like a soldier all the time. You know what I mean? I know we all want to believe they're all ninjas and.
Oh no! I mean, no one's perfect. I mean,
what is it? Is it cheesecakes? What is it? Come on.
No,
okay,
I actually can't. I can't eat cheesecake, so
right.
I'm super reactive to yeast and dairy and gluten, which actually is kind of a good thing because then it's easy to stay away from that stuff. I'd say I eat a lot of fruit, like an excessive amount of fruit.
Come on,
it's a lot of sugars with that. So that's probably my guiltiest pleasure. But I mean, I'm not perfect. I definitely don't eat the greatest. So I'll get some gummy worms every once in a while too.
Yeah, that's good.
Podcast is for 44-year-old.
There we go.
Hey, yeah.
Let's do it. You're on the hook now. Boom.
You just committed.
You just made booking next week real easy. I'm just going to come to your house or show up at Gorilla. I still have to chase down Matt and Dave.
That'd be a good one, yeah.
We've been talking about doing a crossover thing since we had the last event where we were all together at the San Pedro Square.
Oh, yeah.
For Mike's third degree.
Yeah.
And,
he has a great podcast as well.
He does, Position Impossible.
Yeah.
Dave Camarillo, Matt Darcy, the Gorilla Jiu Jitsu podcast. Available on iTunes. It's a lovely podcast with lovely people. They don't quite have the hair or jackets Kyle Hand does, but they got some
dude
steam rolling there.
Yo, man, have you ever seen like the pictures on their Instagram, like from the hunting that they do and shit?
Yes.
They got some cool jackets, man.
Do they?
Yeah.
And some cool guns.
Yeah.
They have cool guns. Matt's got that. What is it?
They're not they're not down at all on that one. Yeah.
So Kyle, you competed recently.
Yeah.
How long had it been, and give us a quick breakdown of your experience.
I think the last time I got ready for tournament was about the time I got married, and like the week before I popped my ankle, and so I couldn't actually enter the tournament. And it was like this big lead up of like a month and a half, and I was just like, son of a bitch. Like I was so let down, and I was like such an imperfect state of body. I think like a blue belt at the time, and then no, actually, you know what it was? No, it was the tournament, the American Cup at Independence High, but about the same time, and I did do it. I was a purple belt. I did all right. I don't know. I think I lost by like 1 or 2 points, but you lose once, you're out the tournament, and I was married at the time, I kind of lost track of it for a while. But this time around, I did a lead up in of about 2.5 months, 5-6 days a week, rolling with everybody I could, finding all the difficult matches in the room, coming to nights like this, and making my way through everybody in the room. And winning, losing. It was really intense. So, but it was a great experience. I learned so much, and I feel like one of the number one questions like we get is, how do I get better at jiu-jitsu?
Yep.
And I used to think that I'd ask that to Mike. I go, Mike, dude, how do I get better at this? What do I need to work on, Mike? And Mike would always say some corny stuff to me, like he'd say some shit like,
Go train?
Go train. Exactly, right? And that used to piss me off so bad. But then now I realize, oh, dude, you know what? Actually, this makes sense. If I'm here 5-6 days a week and I improve just by like 0.5% every day, I mean, that's 0.5% that everybody else is not improving. They're staying still in their stance. And it just adds up. What you can do, most people, how they gain what they do in a month, you could do that in a week conceivably.
Yep.
The progress that you make.
I think it was on Ian, our brother up north in Portland. He posted something where he was at a tournament and he quoted Andy Hung, who's also our main man up north at Dojo Outfitters, and he said the quickest, I'm paraphrasing so I might not get it exactly, but the quickest way to the two quickest ways to get better at jiu-jitsu are teach and compete. And I'm wholeheartedly agree, because if you can't teach a move, you don't really know it. I mean, even if you're not the greatest teacher in the world, but if you can't teach a move, you don't know it.
Yeah, just having to break something down, and I mean, you can execute something, but the ins and outs of it, to be able to articulate it, you have to really know, like, how does it fail?
Yeah.
Like, when doesn't it work? And unless you know all that surrounding sort of, circumstances and stuff, you really don't know it that well, and like where it fits in. Because I think like moves should be done deliberately. Like, they should have their place. There's a right move for a right time in a right situation, and like that's where it fits. Like it fits where it fits, and anywhere else, like I think just showing random stuff is just like, why? Like, it's cool. Like you showed people that you can recite some YouTube shit, but I feel like things should be done purposefully and without knowing those like surrounding circumstances and surrounding kind of like movements that go into it and like what leads up to this. It's like, cool. It's not going to stick.
Yeah, and I also think that it accelerates your learning of the moves, because you can, as you're dissecting, as you're pulling it apart, because you got to really show it. You really start to see these nuances that you may or may not really realize, but they start to become more and more apparent as you're teaching, as you're showing it. Even if it's not necessarily you're teaching a class, but someone asks you, hey, how did you get me on that arm bar? Or how did you get that back take or whatnot? And you start breaking it down, and you're noticing small things that you're doing that help your game overall. And I'm a huge proponent of, I love teaching. I love teaching classes. I love teaching just people asking questions afterwards, so don't feel shy in asking me things, as long as it's not interrupting my training, especially right before big tournaments and stuff like that. I'm more than glad to show stuff, but that is huge. One, it proves that you know the move, and you also start picking up things that you weren't quite fully aware of, and then that just sharpens your ability to do that specific move too. And like you said, it's not just if parameters A, B, and C are perfect, I can do the move. It's, how did I get there? How can I get to that situation? If he does X, what's my Y? If I can keep going into binary situations where he either gets submitted or I get the sweep or whatnot, or he does a very predictable next step, I should be able to prepare for that, because there's only one way out, and it's either I finish or he's going to go in or she's going to go into another position, and I should be able to have a game plan.
I always felt like the sort of best way to really know a move and to execute it well and to be good at it is to really embrace failure and knowing how it works and more importantly how it doesn't, and like where you can kind of go from there. And just if it fails this way, this percentage of time it's successful, this percentage of time, but it fails this other way, this percentage of time, you drill for those things, and preemptively you're able to kind of blossom out and kind of really expand your whole knowledge of the surrounding positions and stuff. And like I think it leads to like better body awareness and just being able to eventually conserve energy and, just fight more deliberately.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right, and I think you can also start developing, and I'm sure this is exactly what you do. You see the failure points, and you can start developing ways to shut that down the line. If there's 3 different ways that they get out of a position, and you can start either having good transitions or get that extra grip that prevents them from being able to do one of them, then you have 2 things to deal with. And then that becomes easier and easier when they have less and less they can do in a situation.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just that thoroughness you can kind of develop, and you wind up being like almost OCD or like very like meticulous about details of this stuff, because like every angle, like every grip, every bit of pressure in different directions matters. It's like it's very significant.
Yeah. And I really, really like your point of, you got to go to failure. I mean, you got to take chances. You can't be too cautious, especially when you're training. I mean, you're not going to grow and learn until you push that envelope and get comfortable in uncomfortable positions. You got to be able to be comfortable in chaos. If you're not comfortable in chaos, you're in the wrong sport. Plain and simple.
Yeah, it's I think it's too easy to coast, and so for that alone, going out and competing and getting out there when it doesn't make sense, where it's there's a little bit of crazy out there, and it's this happened, but it doesn't happen in class. Well, like that guy wanted it more than the dude that was just trying to go home and eat dinner.
Yeah,
so I mean, it's different.
Sometimes it's you just got a guy that revs, like he just has a position, and in practice, you're able to eventually shut it down because a guy doesn't want to put anything and everything out on the line, and in a tournament, like they're just gonna want it more, and I mean that's the beauty of tournaments, is you get to go and push the envelope to the end and really, really find out what you're made of. I mean I love competing. I think people ask me what's the best way to get better, besides teaching and helping out people. You compete because I think there's 3 modalities of improvement for competing. It's the preparation beforehand. You're just focused. It's different. It's a different tempo, and especially if you're competing with other people, and there's like our competition classes, there's a little bit of a different attitude to the practice. And then there's the competing itself. You find out pretty quickly what you're made of, and you find out if you're gonna break because you're gassed. You find out, hey, that's a move I wasn't aware of. And then right after, you have on Monday morning, you got something to work on. You got the lab to start, figuring things out, and you get better. And the coasting is where people plateau. People, they punch their time card in, they do the warm-ups, they do the move of the day, they roll a little bit, they stay in their comfort zone, and they go out. But those aren't the people that are accelerating through their jiu-jitsu career and getting better and better. They're not getting that 0.5% better every day, every time they train. They're staying still.
2 times a week.
2 times a week is not enough.
That's right.
I mean, there's people that do that 5 times a week, and you see the white belts and then the blue belts pass them, and it's all about continuing to progress, and the way you progress. I mean, not everyone has to compete.
So
to
okay,
get better.
Listen. Let's say you got a white belt in front of you. He's in 5 days a week, and he's thinking this is all that's required. What do you say to him?
I mean, one, white belt's a little bit different. Is just stay hungry, stay open, stay malleable, because your preconceived notions are probably wrong. Yeah. So put in the extra work. Test yourself. Don't stay within what you feel is comfortable, what you feel like is your go-to. I mean, like you want them to be fine with going out and testing things out. And you can have a certain amount of, you want to start identifying what you're good at, what you're not good at, and that kind of stuff. But, just stick with what we're working on every single day. Stick with the basics.
Do you feel like people, they hit those big plateaus where they're not breaking through? I mean, are they being dishonest with themselves? You know what I mean? Whereas, they come in 5 days a week, but they're not really answering difficult questions. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's... that in of itself is a great question. And it's going to lead me into what I'm going to say is they're not asking the right questions.
Kind of Ferris wheel, and it's just redundant, doing the same thing over and over,
Right,
expecting
right.
different results.
like maybe
insanity.
they're terrible takedowns, and then you get them flat and they got nothing, right? But they're not coming in here and dealing with that thing, which is very obviously wrong to you or I, but they just keep repeating that error 5 days a week.
Yeah, I think that there's a couple things going on there. The onus is on the coaches in the higher belts to kind of help mentor and guide them along, and isolate and do the same move 4 times in a row to them, just to like prove a point. Like, hey, do something about this. You got to adapt. And then obviously the people have to want to learn, have to want to improve.
Yeah.
So you can encourage them to improve and kind of help guide them along. But at the end of the day, you gotta the horse has to want to drink. So I definitely encourage a lot.
This leads me down the line of a questioning. I've always wanted to ask you, especially on this sort of context. Some people come in the room and they're kind of stuck in that rut, right? And maybe they're pretty good and they do ask some tough questions, but there's still something missing. Now, I'm kind of postulating that a guy like yourself might sort of clarify it as that willingness to fight, that the thing that comes natural with the wolves and the sharks. You know what I mean? That animalistic sort of like intensity. I don't know if I'm going down the right path here, but you tell me. Is sometimes you see it's missing there for that lower belt, or maybe even a higher belt. Sometimes we see like purple belts, and they're kind of lacking this intensity to them.
I think that hopefully I answer your question as you intend. I think the question they need to ask themselves, like, what are you doing this for? And this,
Your why.
If your why is great enough to overcome, being stuck in what you're comfortable and pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone and going constantly against the tough, the tough competitors, the tough roles and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like that's what's cool about this sport. It's like, everyone's doing this for a different reason, and it doesn't have to be the world champion, the top competitor, or even like the local hero. There's nothing to say that the people that come in every day have to improve on a drastic level, but it takes a certain mentality to improve on a massive level. So if someone is eager to improve, you'll see that in their personality. One person that just exemplifies this in my mind is Gary, because not only does he say he wants to improve, he does improve. He competes. He asks questions ad nauseum, like and I welcome it. I enjoy it because it's like, hey, I'm trying this. Hey, I'm looking at this. Hey, is this garbage? And why is it good or bad or what? I mean, like, he's really critically thinking, and he's a great example of someone that's progressed even just in these last 4 or 5 months of the year. He had a little bit of a rough time after getting in a little bit of a car accident when he was biking. It was brutal. I mean, you were there. You saw that.
I took him to the hospital.
And like, he was all right, but it also kind of like knocked him off his training and stuff. And so, once he started rebounding, he started building more and more and more momentum. And now, I think he's at a good spot that he's just going to keep, snowballing down. And I'm very proud of him, and I'm proud of a lot of the other guys. But to answer your question, like, I'd probably just tell them to compete.
That one last little missing piece, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you can help as an instructor. How do you help somebody bring that out of them? You know what I mean? It's a challenge, because it's different for every single person. And the first thing is they gotta want it, right? You can kind of push people a little bit, and a lot of the times it's getting people to compete helps a lot. There's just something about the whole process of competing just sets it off and stuff. But I mean, and it's also like just having a passion for learning. Like, I would suggest that the 2 books that, if anyone wants to read books, my favorite what are those?
Audiobooks you can listen to. My 2 favorite books in the entire world are in order are, I'm gonna butcher the guy's name, but it's Flow by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, and then The Art of Learning by Josh Waitzkin. Those 2 things you'll find are so applicable to the world, and just having that that passion for learning, and that of itself is self-fulfilling to getting better and getting that missing link is just really looking for the flow states and learning, like just being hungry to get better.
I would add one more to that list. Simon Sinek, start with why.
That's a good one, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, but it talks about intention. He talks about intention in terms of business context.
Yeah.
But throughout my years in jiu-jitsu, everybody has access to the teachings, the YouTube, the instructors like you guys, the Mikes and the David Camarillos and all these wonderful people here in the Bay. We got like all these resources. But if there's that one little sort of missing step in there, it's like a staircase with the first step gone. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then once they get it, and you know who I think of once, because he didn't have it before, then he got it, and then he just lit up like a freaking Christmas tree. Was Craig
Yes.
Wallace?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
One.
And for like everybody who doesn't know who Craig Wallace is, why would you, right? He's just a simple guy. He's I think he works at anyways. I knew him way back in the day when him and I used to go to AKA San Jose when it was off of Cruiser. And I knew him for a long time. And he was somebody who had a really tough time getting the sport. He was missing that first step, and he would come in and he would get, he had a lot of difficulty. He had a lot of learning to do, but he was kind of perpetually stuck in that first step, and he couldn't get out of it. And then he came over to Sunnyvale and joined us a couple years ago, and then something snapped, and he got it. And I don't know what his moment was, and I've always
He
wanted
started
to ask
competing.
him. Maybe that was it, but I think it happened just a little bit before. He figured out his why.
He met me.
Yeah.
All jokes aside, Craig has done incredible things
Yeah.
in the second part of his career that
I feel like
it's very admirable.
You can make a movie about that guy, and it would go big. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that guy a lot.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for him.
Yeah.
He goes out there and pushes the envelope and competes on a regular basis. And he went out to Master Worlds last year and put up a hell of a fight. And he's going again this year.
Now he gets it. And
Yeah.
he's intense.
Yep.
And he's there like every single tournament. He's actually
Getting a lot
older
better.
than me. I think he's about 44 or so. He's got 2 kids out the house now, and he's got like a lot more time to.
A lot of time to
and he does it.
commute.
You see his
and-
commute?
Yeah, his
Yeah,
commute is
his commute's
brutal,
nuts.
and he still puts in the work.
He lives
Nuts.
off the 5.
Yeah, he lives in Los Banos.
He goes all the way down, like the
Banos.
whole 152 from Sunnyvale.
Not
Yeah.
happening.
Hell
Wouldn't
no.
happen. Just not.
But even more to his point, you got to travel 3 hours every day, and then
he still
you throw in
grinds.
a jiu-jitsu workout in the middle of that. You know what I mean?
Still
You're like,
grinds.
That's halfway to Bakersfield every
Yeah.
single day, twice.
Yeah,
badass.
It's insane, and he's out there putting work in all the time. So, your suggestion is awesome. You got to find that why. You got to answer the question, or even
I think so.
ask the question of why do I do this?
Yeah.
And if that answer is to get better, to become the best version of myself, and truly work at what's going to be making me a better person. Not even just jiu-jitsu, because jiu-jitsu, I mean, at the end of the day, who really cares about jiu-jitsu? I mean, obviously we all love the sport and everything else like that, but if this can help me be a better person, a better husband, a better family man, that's the most important thing to me is I can feel confident that I am a better person because of what I do here. And at work, like if something's crazy going on and chaos, who cares? Because I can handle it. I just tell me what I need to do, or I'll figure out what I need to do, and I'll just handle it because I deal with people literally trying to choke me out on a daily basis. Going to war. If something's not going to plan at work, so what? We'll make it work.
So we actually have a question from one of our live Instagram feed, Clint Cronin viewers right here. It's, what products does Kyle Hand use in his hair?
You know what? I only use one, and they don't pay for jack shit, so I'm not gonna give them any sort of airtime. No. It's called dude, I forget what it's called. It's really cool. It's got like one of those Latino sugar skulls on the lid of it.
Really?
Right, so it's like a little 3.5 thing I found on Amazon, and it was a little pricey. It was around the $10 range, and dude, I can't remember the name of it. Is that who?
Add
That's
it
somebody
to
from
the
our
show
school.
notes.
Yeah, we'll add it to the show notes.
It's an actual collar. So we'll put it in the description, right?
Yeah.
So that's really funny. I wish that was a joke. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Who is it?
It's Mike.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Mike.
Yep. Hey, at least
I've been reduced down to a hair model. Awesome.
I mean, there are worse fates in the world.
Yeah.
you got a nice jacket too.
Okay, so
Yeah.
hold on. Going back to the starting with your why though, I had a situation when I turned purple belt. My why for jiu-jitsu changed because all I ever wanted to do from the time I was a white belt, was just like be a blue belt, and I thought that was insane that I could one day be a blue belt. Like that seems so crazy.
Yeah,
to me.
that was a whole thing back in the day.
It was.
It didn't happen.
When I started in 03, dude, like the amount of blue belts out there was so rare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you went to like a house party with one of the blue belts, you're like, dude, yo, that guy right there, he's a blue belt. He's badass.
He's like a contract killer. It's
Yeah.
legend.
And then, once I got to blue, I was like, that's insane. But once the time I got to purple, my why, when I started from white belt, my intention was completely different. And I had a big old plateau. And it was because of that my why changing. I reached my goal.
Yeah, you reached your goal, and then there's like, what next?
I floated. And then once I kind of got a little bit better as a purple, then I realized, I'm like, dude, I need direction here. I need to find something.
Going from blue to purple felt like a different thing.
Yeah.
It felt like different than the white to blue. It felt like a responsibility. Like, because they don't give these out that often at all. So it meant something, in terms of just like responsibility. Like you're like one of the senior students in the class now. I mean, now there's more black belts, there's more brown belts.
Yeah.
But when there weren't, and Mike was not handing out belts as like you see a lot more people on the mat now, color belts. This didn't exist in 05.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, like One World didn't, but I mean, in just this group of people where you have all different associations getting together, like they were getting together to fight each other. Like that was it. That you'd see them at tournaments and fights, like MMA stuff, but like there was no open mat with all this stuff. Like, and most people were white belts, like Americans anyway.
Okay, so I got it. Okay, my pomade is called Suavecito, and you can buy it right now on Amazon. Let's see. It comes in a 4-ounce can.
Amazon.clintcronin.com.
Amazon.clintcronin.com.
Use the affiliate link, please.
Yes, please.
Yeah, use the affiliate link. It's a pomade, and it's fantastic. And I'll tell you this much. Here we go. We don't get money from these guys. I don't know why I'm saying this.
No, I'm actually going to.
All right.
Amazon.
Hey, listen.
ClintCronin.
It's got like a real old school kind of like Latino feel to it. You got a camera over there?
I do.
You wanna?
I would not. Hold on.
And you know what? My wife loves it. She loves the smell of it, and
Perfect.
You've heard my jiu-jitsu instructor. He loves it too.
Absolutely.
Suavecito. By Kyle Ham.
Suavecito. No, not by me. But
That would
it's
be
a fantastic
so
product.
funny if you wound up getting
Yeah.
sponsored by
That'd be
Suavecito.
so good. Please.
Can we get a patch for that on the?
Suavecito.
Yeah.
That might happen.
That might pay for a couple of my tournament wins.
Yeah, let's make it happen. I'll bring it back to what your point was.
Hey, thanks. Yeah.
With once you got to the purple belt and about like what's your why and how you had to eventually evolve it. Like that's life. That's what it should happen. Is we should be constantly evolving and reassessing. It doesn't have to be on a daily basis or anything else like that. But we should be checking in, and it shouldn't just be, oh, what's my silly New Year's resolution garbage. It should be, what gets me ticking? What are the important things? What should be my priorities in life? Because it gets so easy to miss out on a lot of things in life, and people are going to have different priorities in life, and family and work and kids and obviously jiu-jitsu and for me ice hockey too with the boys and having a very academic lifestyle where I'm constantly reading and everything else like that is really important. You got to make sure you keep prioritizing, because it's so easy just to get stuck in what's going on in the world with Instagram, what's going on in the world with news or whatever, or it's just really important asking why, not just on the mat, or what am I trying to accomplish, not just on the mat, which is very important, but also in life. You want to make sure that you're being active in fulfilling a good solid life, and whatever that means to you, whether that's spiritual, religious, giving back to the community, whatever that means to you is your business. But it's all about actively choosing and not just going with the flow and that
floating along.
And
that's what I was doing. I was floating.
And that happens a lot in jiu-jitsu. It's people punch the time clock. They're not actively working and making decisions like I'm going to become better at this. I'm going to do the necessary work to be better.
Let's go around the table. Clinton, what's your why for jiu-jitsu? What's your why?
My why? Just to be training purposefully and living purposefully in general, and
Cool. All right.
to be improving.
Good. You? Your why is good. I think I know your why, but you give it to me.
There's a lot of things, but
Keep it under 5 minutes.
Yeah, keep it under an hour and a half. My standard why I'd say is to become the best version of myself. I'll reiterate that statement. I want to see where I can take this and get better and really push the envelope and push my comfortability level. And like I said, I think the most fulfilling things in the entire world for me are getting as many flow states as possible. And for the people that don't understand that, it's like you're in the zone moment.
Yeah.
The time doesn't seem to be a thing at all, and you're just in that moment. Good conversations, rolling, playing ice hockey, hanging out with the wife, whatever, playing with the dog, whatever those are so important, and jiu-jitsu allows that. And the constant, iron versus iron of jiu-jitsu is my why, because it helps me to become better.
Cool.
It helps me to, really, push myself to be, the next best version.
Cool. Right on. All right.
And your why, Kyle?
Okay, I've broken it down into two main goals here, because I realized when I was floating around as a purple belt that I did myself a big disservice. So 2 things: be the best martial artist I can, number 1, and go towards the things which make me uncomfortable. That's it.
Yeah, and I'd add another thing, especially lately. The next part of my why is to help give back to the community.
Cool.
And help people find what is important to them, whether that's competition or whatever. But competition has been a big part of it. But also just helping people out, in jiu-jitsu especially, but also in jiu-jitsu and wrestling and dropping phones. And, it's very fulfilling to teach, coach, encourage, hang out. That also really is super fulfilling, not just getting better at myself, but helping other people improve and reach their potential is very rewarding.
Yeah.
The open mat folks are trying to take a picture. I'm like, yeah, we'll be right there. Hold on, let me bring my iPhone. Man.
Do it, man.
No, we're not actually going to take a picture.
Right.
They can take a picture with us again if they want to.
Yeah.
We've had some selfies, videos, and stuff taken of us so far.
That's right. You make them come here.
Yeah, they can come to us. Got this whole gimmick table over here with the microphones and the guy with the Suavecito and the classy Want vs. Need hoodie right there, available at wantversusneed.com. Get them while they last.
Check it.
And it's a quick one today, but I feel like we covered a lot of stuff. I feel like the big takeaway from this is to sort of like ask yourself, why you're doing this. Do things deliberately. I feel like living purposefully and like having a plan and knowing
what's your why, man?
Why are you doing what you're doing? Don't just. There's a difference between like idling and floating and a flow state. And the books you were talking about earlier were Flow by the
Mihai Csikszentmihalyi.
In the show notes.
So Flow, and then the second one was
The Art of Learning by Josh Waitzkin.
The Art of Learning. So
he's the first black belt under Marcelo Garcia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's co-owner of over there.
And an international Chinese push hands world champion.
Standing and standard. Yeah, he's the guy that the In Search of Bobby Fischer was the movie and book were set up as.
Wow.
And then so he goes over like kind of his progression through that, and then so much more. It's very, especially as a martial artist, it's very tantalizing and engaging, but also like there's some just absolute nugget takeaways that you're like, wow.
Yeah,
and those
I read it
are
too.
all available on
Great
Amazon.clintcronin.com.
Amazon.clintcronin.com.
Yeah.
That's where you should be doing all your shopping there. Just bookmark it, and that's your Amazon now.
Good stocking stuffer, right?
There you go, stocking stuffer
Yeah,
gets
we're
books.
coming up in the season again.
It's also on Audible.com. So
Oh, Audible's tremendous.
I love it. I mean, I pound through a lot of books. I went
you
through
do.
50 last year, and I'm trying to go through 60 this year, and it helps being able to listen. Just going to bed or whatever helps a lot.
I mean, podcasts are great. I mean, listen to this one, obviously, and
Of course.
but it's also nice to sort of spread it out and to have things that are absolutely learning material.
If you find yourself driving to Los Banos and then back every day,
Yeah.
podcast is pretty good.
I'll say hi to Craig. 'Cause
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
he's going to be
Oh,
listening
he's
to this
absolutely
tomorrow
listening
or
to
whenever
this.
this drops.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will be live tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
We
he's gonna
need
listen
a
to it.
T-shirt. Says like, I know Craig. Yeah.
I know Craig.
Exactly. And well, thanks everybody for listening. As always, check out D Mitch. What's the number?
442.
At D Mitch 442 on Instagram. Kyle Hand is at
The Gentleman Grappler.
Gentleman Grappler.
And then I'll add a little quick plug. So Fight to Win,
Yes.
June 8th. Fight to Win 76 in San Jose at the Santa Clara Fairgrounds. I'm going to be fighting Derek Van Ness, so at the 170s brown belt. If you need tickets, you can go to cagetix.com, select my name because I get credit for that then, or just contact me. And then also another One World brother, Tyler Brandon Shu, will also be competing there. And the card is so stacked with Nathan
yeah.
Mendelsohn at the against
Damn.
Keenan. What's his name? The other guy. Forget his first name, but that's going to be a great match. And Gumby's competing, and
What?
yeah, Gumby's competing.
What?
There's a bunch of people I've had on the show that are actually competing. Neo is going up against the homie Bill Cooper. So Bill the
nice.
Grill is going against Neo. Noah Bahat.
Oh, nice.
Double tough dude.
You know what? Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
That card is so
Yeah.
sick. There's so many people we know that come to Open Mat, and it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited about it. I'm excited about the opportunity. That'll be weekend 3 out of 7 in a row of competition. So I'll still be probably pretty fresh after Worlds. So guys, come out, come support us. It'll be a good time. Other than that, I appreciate the time, Clinton.
Hey, it's a pleasure being here, surrounded by friends and sweaty training partners. So everybody keep training. Go check out David Mitchell at Cage Tix for the Fight to Win Pro event coming
Yeah,
up
boy.
on June 8th.
June 8th, Friday, yeah.
So get tickets. Just go to
It's gonna be
cagetix.com, look for the San Jose Fight to Win event, and select David Mitchell for the fighter you're trying to see. And always come out. One World Jiu Jitsu Open Mat, 5:30 p.m. every Sunday. Everyone's welcome. There's no drop-in fee. And for the best skis out there, check out wantverseneed.com, at wantverseneed on Instagram. Thanks to everybody for listening, watching, subscribe, share, like. Thank you. Thanks, David. Thanks, Kyle. Y'all rock.
Thank
All
you.
right, man.
Love y'all. Bye.